unbox it, I would say pick a starting point and go clockwise.
Okay.
Or counterclockwise, starting from wherever you want.
Okay.
That's all got to be picked apart, so no better person to do it than you. So
Are you already taping?
give us your eye.
Hi there, I'm Emilie, and Ken and I just bought our first RV. So I'm going to show you around the inside. Ken already took you around the outside. So here we've got the front cab. This is where Ken sat when he drove it home as I followed behind him. It was quite an experience watching him sort of sway back and forth on the highway in the wind, and I was really grateful that he was the one driving it, so thank you. And we have a really cool dash cup mug holder here, which I think is really fun. Maybe we'll just repaint it or something. And up overhead, we think this is probably where we'll do our sleeping. It's a queen size bed. This cushion back here just comes right down into this slot and becomes a queen size bed.
So get it out of there.
Oh. So, our plan would be, I think, if we were to actually sleep up here, to get a nicer mattress that's super comfortable and just cut it to size and maybe have this cut out and maybe not, I'm not sure. And take off all of those valances and create a little more headspace, because it is a little bit, there's enough headspace, but if you have any degree of claustrophobia at all, which I do have a little bit of.
I didn't know that about you.
Yeah, it's not, I've never had a panic attack over it or anything, but but small spaces can be a little bit uncomfortable. So I think once we remove all of those things that are jutting into the room itself, it's going to feel a little more spacious. And once we have everything cleaned out, like you can see up on the ceiling there, we've got some sort of water damage, I imagine.
Yeah, that looks great.
We're going to want to clean that up really, really well if we're sleeping and breathing that air all night long every night. And that's our, what is that, our fan?
Well, I think it's just an exhaust, window. Well, I don't even think exhaust is the right word, because there's no motor. I think it just opens up. All right,
so it's just sort of like an air vent.
It's like a vent, yeah.
So ideally, we've been doing a little bit of research on different air conditioning systems and fans. We're not really interested in air conditioning. I don't think it's particularly necessary. But we have found these fans that blow air in and suck it right back out. You can sort of you can control it with a remote control. It has some sort of temperature gauge on it. It's very fancy and not particularly expensive. So ideally, we're thinking to maybe have 2 of those in here, or 1 of those back here and something smaller over here. But we'll figure that out.
Yeah, because that AC's got to come out, I think.
Yeah, we're going to take that AC out. It just likely sucks a whole lot of power. I'm guessing it's loud and smelly, as air conditioning systems tend to be. And I just don't think we need it. I think if we have enough air circulation in here, we'll be perfectly fine. We don't have an air conditioning in our house right now. We don't really use our air conditioning in our cars. Even when it's super hot, I think we'll be fine.
Yeah. One of the things that I just am seeing is that clearly water's come down on this side, because look at... So we've definitely got some... You look up in there, and then even this is swollen, so that's gonna be sweet.
What we were told is that, once upon a time there was water damage, and it's all been fixed, and so nothing to worry about now.
Yeah.
Don't look over here. So,
we did. They're like, we can fix that.
We'll fix it, and however deep it goes is how deep it goes, and we'll figure it out. And fingers crossed, it's not too bad. So,
yeah, I think we're gonna gut this thing.
Yeah, we're gonna take the vast majority of. Well, we're gonna take pretty much everything out to begin with, and then put everything back in, or certain things back in. But in the end, this place is gonna look very different than it does right now. Where else should we go?
I don't know. What's next? Like maybe let's just go like thing by thing and go. Yeah, this is gonna go. This is gonna stay. I mean, who knows? But like that magazine rat, I think that thing's going, right?
Yeah, I think this thing is gonna go. I don't think it's necessary. We'll see how much storage we actually need. Maybe we're, a little too optimistic in thinking that we're not going to need as much storage as is available to us right now, because we keep saying that we're going to take storage away from ourselves and turn it into something else.
Right.
We don't know yet if that's a good idea. But we do have what feels like quite a lot of storage to us. This goes all the way. It's on the other side too. There's a nice solid shelf that runs all the way across. Are they all the way, or are they walls? No, it goes all the way. So you could actually put something really long in there if you needed to.
Yeah, we could probably put a library ladder in there if we had to. That'll be another video later. Please watch it, actually. Emilie has this amazing library ladder that has traveled across Route 66 and made its home here in Colorado, and is dying to go somewhere else.
Ken has been a real sport about this for 2 out of the last 3 years.
Yeah.
And has carted this thing back and forth from California to Colorado, weighing the back of his truck down along with the rest of my stuff. I keep thinking that we're going to be able to get rid of it. And I keep thinking that, somebody is going to want it for their home as much as I have wanted it for my home. And meanwhile, it just rests in our hallway.
Yeah, it's a cool ladder.
It's a super cool ladder, and we'll see if I can win the battle and somehow incorporate it into our design.
All right.
So on we go. Here's our dining area, sort of the traditional Formica top and booth. It also, there's a cushion somewhere here, and this sort of drops down, and this whole thing becomes a bed. It's wider than twin, but not as long, I think. And we're considering maybe narrowing this area a little bit and removing this couch in order to create a little more living space, a lot more living space, in fact. I'm a little OCD and worried about the weight here and the balance from left to right, so we're going to be super careful as we go, as we remove things and add things to just alleviate my anxiety a little bit. And so yeah, we'll have plenty of space to do yoga if we get really nice and disciplined and start doing yoga every day. And
it's an idea space.
Yes, it's an idea space. I don't know, maybe there's a little bench somewhere. Maybe there are a couple of chairs that can be moved around. Who knows? And then we come into the kitchen here.
All right, so I'm going to jump over here because,
So it's also worth saying that we have not yet actually cleaned or moved much of anything in this RV since we purchased it a few days ago. It sort of came as is. So it's a little bit in rough shape with things all over the place. But here's our kitchen. We have a double sink here. We're thinking, this was Ken's wonderful idea of maybe chopping off this whole section and making this a nice, clean, straight countertop. And he has some nifty ideas for creating some extra counter space for us while not losing any of our appliances. So that will be super cool to see. We're going to get rid of this coffee maker because we don't need it, first of all. And apparently coffee makers drain a huge amount of power. Who knew? So no need for that. We'll probably remove these speaker systems and come up with something tiny and Mac related or something. Here's our stovetop and our oven. We've got 4 burners, which seems like a lot for an RV. Some super cool wallpaper, which could be worth saving just because it's so ridiculous. So we also have an oven here. Ken is sort of lobbying for extra storage space here, since we may potentially be losing this entire chunk. That would require giving up an oven, which is super duper tiny, but workable.
I am not as good a camera person as you are.
That's all right. It's a little dark in here too.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Well, think about that pot.
I get it, but it might need an oven. It might need an oven.
Even though we're talking about that easy pot, or what's the?
Yeah, here's my thing, and yeah.
Sorry, everybody. Like, it is treacherous trying to walk around in here.
That doesn't bode well for our future, does it?
Well, the big of a hurdle.
Yeah. Desserts. I guess you can make desserts in the easy pot, and
so this is about desserts? Okay,
and I understand
all right.
the whole. We're trying to. Reduce inflammation, no sugar, and all of that, and I really want to abide by that, but that doesn't mean that I can't figure out some form of baking.
You do figure out many forms of baking.
Yeah, I just used the sugar last night. So we'll see. We will return to the oven issue. We've got a lot more storage here. It's pretty deep. Oh, we already saw that with the water damage. We've got a bunch of storage here, but we don't really need to see that right now because I think we're going to chop it right off. We are probably going to have some version of this once we have a cleaner countertop, so that typically we have a ton of space, but we always have a little bit of extra.
We have a lot of scrap wood in the shop, so it'll be like all the old knitting needle pieces and parts. We have a whole trash can full of that stuff. I wonder what we could make with it.
Excellent. Maybe we can make
everything.
Just strips of knitting needles.
All right.
That would be kind of fun.
All right, we'll figure that. It's got to show up some. Oh, here.
Yeah.
Let me get rid of that. Sorry.
It can get really messy really quick, apparently. Oh! Goodness.
Sorry, everybody. Well, we really haven't, we've spent really no time in here other than sitting on that couch trying to imagine what it would be like to watch TV.
It's true.
So, which is sort of antithetical to the main reasons for doing this. So, but anyway, yeah, we promised not to do that.
All right, rest of, we've got a bungee on here, so I guess this is, not super secure. But we do have a full-size refrigerator, full-size, is it full-size? It's big, it seems, for an RV. It's also antiquated, so I don't remember if they said it worked or not. Likely we'll take it out and get something a little bit newer. And ideally, something that we can run on solar. I know nothing about solar other than the videos that I've watched on YouTube, and it sort of puts my mind at ease every time they say they have more power than they'll ever possibly use, and that just feels like a really good idea. And to have it come from the sun, where we don't have to pay for it, we're not harming anything, it's just like easy, so why not have extra power and run things like the refrigerator on it. We've got a lot of storage in here, a nice big pantry with a roll-out fancy shelf system, which is really solid, and I think maybe we'll be likely to keep in some form, whether here or somewhere else. A bunch of drawers. And another pantry over here. So it feels like we have a lot of storage. I don't imagine we're going to have a whole lot of kitchenware.
That's a lot of stuff.
It's a lot of stuff. I don't know that we have this much stuff in our kitchen.
We don't have that much. No, I guarantee we don't have that much stuff.
Here's one thing that's probably to our benefit and to our detriment in different ways. That in the last couple of years, Ken and I have pared down so much for various reasons that we we just don't have as much stuff as we used to have. We live in a really small space. We have a lot of room around our house, which is nice, but the inside of our home is really small. So we're on top of each other. We don't have a whole lot of stuff.
We have a nice deck.
We have a really lovely deck, and we spend a lot of time there, and are looking forward to, you know, versions of that around the country.
I think we should do it. We should show them the deck later.
I think that's a good idea. We'll show them the deck, because we spend a lot of our time out there, especially when the weather is nice.
Yeah.
Or brutal, as it is now. So that is to our benefit that we've sort of gotten used to some degree of paring down already. We're gonna have to get rid of a lot of stuff, but probably not as much as most people would in order to transition into this mobile life, which is our plan in the next couple to few months ish. Anyhow, it feels like plenty of storage to us. Onto the bedroom, or another bedroom I should say. Not sure if we want to use this as our bed. As much as that can be a little cramped up there, it's also a lot bigger, just in terms of the size of the mattress. I think this is full back here. So yeah, we're thinking, I don't know, this could be some sort of office space. It could be a couch, it could be a smaller bed, just giving us a little bit more room, opening up this hallway a little bit, maybe making the bathroom a little bit bigger. We have a lot of different options. I think no matter what, we're probably going to want to take out these cabinets here. Again, we're taking storage away from ourselves, which seems silly, sort of, and yet, I don't know. I don't think we're going to need it. We'll see. So no matter what, we're going to open up this space a little bit, and probably open up the bathroom a little bit as well. We do have a full shower here, and I don't know, what feels like a little foot bath, maybe? Baby tub.
Well, it's got some window balance things in it.
It does have a couple of window balance. We may take those out. That's not final yet in our decor ideas, but yeah, we'll probably take them out of the shower in the end. So,
yeah, so that's kind of cool.
That is kind of cool. It's pretty big. We've got a toilet in here. It's a Thetford. I think that this is sort of your standard RV toilet that hooks up to a black water tank, which we, by the by, do not have. I don't remember what the owner said, how that happened to be, but we do not have a black water tank as of now. So we either have to do sort of a portable black water tank, which is what they were doing, or build, I don't know much about black water tanks or any tanks, but insert a black water tank system, or we may get a compost toilet, which seems to be really expensive and maybe more of a hassle than it is worth, and may get one of those, what were they called? Disc? What were they called?
Cassette.
Cassette, thank you.
Yeah.
Cassette toilet. That one seems kind of like a good option. It's leaning in the porta potty option. There are Thetford porta potties. I saw a video the other day, and it seemed more camping style than living style. I don't know what level of comfort and convenience we're going to end up wanting. I don't know how often we're going to want to have to deal with it. So there's a little more research to be done in that department. Little sink here. Again, more storage. Goes all the way in. Feels like there's plenty of room. More storage down here. Yeah, still a fair amount of room in there. And I think that's pretty much the tour of our entire place. One more reason that this place may not be the place that we want to sleep is that we've got a generator right outside and underneath this bed, I think. Is that right? Or behind
I think so, yeah.
It's right around this area. And the thing about this generator, you have to have a generator. You never know what's going to happen. It's important to have a backup system. I'm speaking as if I know anything about this subject. But the thing about this generator in particular, and I don't know if it's specific to this one or if this is true of all generators, but it's just super duper loud. And it vibrates, and it emits a pretty awful smell. It doesn't feel like a kind gesture to the neighborhood around you. And it doesn't seem like a really pleasant place to sleep if we ever need to use that generator. That said, the hope is never to even need it, to really use it as a backup, to use as much as we possibly can through solar, using things like LED lights, and using, I imagine, a certain amount of propane. But we'll see. And that's it.